Fort McMurray is declaring a local state of emergency due to rising COVID cases. The regional municipality of Wood Buffalo, which includes Fort McMurray, has the highest rate of active cases in the province, 1,300 per 100,000 people. Local officials want an emergency meeting with federal and provincial officials, and they want vaccine deliveries to their area to speed up. Just last hour, Premier Kenney said his government will work with local officials, but added there seems to be a low number of people signing up for their shots in the region.
I think there appears to be, in part, perhaps a bit of a demand problem, but also we need to make sure, because a lot of shift workers up there, that they're able to get to the vaccines when they're not working. So we'd be happy to, we're going to be working with the local health authorities as well as the municipal government to see how we can get vaccines more conveniently delivered to people.
For more, we've reached Mayor Don Scott. Hi, Mayor Scott, good to see you. Thank you very much for making the time.
Yeah, happy to be back with you, and thanks again.
Before we get into some of the conversation around vaccines and the clip from the Premier there, I just wanted, if you could lay out for us and for people who live outside of Northern Alberta, what the situation is like and how worried you are about it.
Yeah, we're extremely concerned, and I think the fact that we declared a state of emergency signals how serious we take the issue. We had a meeting with our Indigenous leadership in this region last night as a council. And at the end of that meeting, we took a vote, and I had a mandate to sign a state of emergency, which was done today. And, there are several steps we're going to take. And one step is to start advocating for vaccines. Another step is to start meetings with our Indigenous partners, with other levels of government. And I can say that by midnight last night, I was in touch with the Premier of Alberta. And a few hours ago, I spoke with the Federal Minister of Health, Minister Hadju. And I can say that the discussions have been very positive to date so far. So I think we're headed in a positive direction as far as advocacy is concerned. But we are deeply concerned with what we're seeing. One of the issues in our region that differs us from a lot of other regions is we have a very young population, and that young population isn't eligible for the vaccines like older populations would be. So we want to make sure that as many people as possible get the vaccine, and anybody who wants it. So, that I see that as an opportunity and something that can be dealt with pretty rapidly, and certainly something I'm going to communicate to other levels of government.
And so by that, do you mean, for example, that the vaccine in Fort McMurray, in particular in the surrounding area, be made available to younger age groups than it is perhaps in other parts of the province? And has there been what's the reception to that idea been like from the Premier in your conversations?
I think everybody's taking it back to their respective cabinets for discussions, and I don't have solid responses yet. And I think there's a supply issue, obviously. That's really one of the concerns, and I think we've heard that from my own Premier, who's a strong advocate for the oil sands. I know that he certainly wants to balance the economy and people's health as much as possible and get through this COVID situation. So I know that he and his government, I believe, and based on what I heard today, will do all they can to work with us to get through this. And, I have every confidence that we're going to be working together to achieve positive results for the residents.
What about the demand side of vaccines? Is it, and I'll just quote from Fort McMurray today, the spokesperson for Alberta Health Services said that at least one vaccine dose had been given to about 10.4% of Fort McMurray's population and 14% of people in rural hamlets and First Nations. And that's, considerably less than in many other parts of Alberta. Is that an issue of people being hesitant to take the vaccine? Is it that they're not eligible? Is it that they don't work in, I think the Premier talked about shift work, for example, that doesn't line up with when the vaccine is being delivered? Like, what is it there?
Yeah, I've heard that people are hesitant, but I don't think that's the dominant issue. I think we need to start getting supply into people's arms. I believe that's the key issue. And what's going to help supply is, doing all we can to, get the word out that there's going to be opportunities for everyone who wants the vaccine to get a shot. And, I have heard concerns from people, but I think that every organization in this region needs to work hard to make sure that people are getting vaccines. And I certainly know that people who want it, but they're not eligible for it. And I think that is creating part of the issue. I mean, I've heard those concerns, but let's address and get as many people vaccinated as we can. if that's the path forward. Everybody who wants a vaccine should get a vaccine, in my view. Let's, especially in a hotspot like this, and we certainly are.
Beyond vaccines, and I guess I should say in the meantime, as that process unfolds, because as we know, it's not something that will happen overnight, are you looking at additional restrictions specific to the Wood Buffalo, Fort McMurray area? Are you concerned about particular workplaces? Like, is there more that can be done there? What else are you looking at?
You know, we're talking with our oil sands partners to see what opportunities there might be, and with other levels of government. I can say that OSCO, the Oil Sands Community Alliance, has been in discussions with our council, and we're looking to the government of Alberta because they have the information. They really have the information that we think is going to drive the decisions that would actually make a difference. So whatever decisions are made going forward, you know, we want the people with the best information advising and helping us make those moves going forward. So whatever will make a difference, let's get that done. Because I can tell you that the people in this region want to get back to work. They want to move the economy forward just as they always have done. And we see that there might be different opportunities that we're not aware of, and other levels of government obviously have information that we would not have at this time. So we're relying on other levels of government, especially the province.
Is there anything, though, that you see as someone in the community specific to what the source of the issue is? I mean, we've spoken to different people from different communities on the show tonight. Some in hotspots in Ontario know that it's essential workplaces. In Nova Scotia, it's people getting together when they're not supposed to be. Like, what do you know at the community level about what, if you were to go to Premier Kenney, let's say, or Minister Hajdu, you'd be asking them beyond just vaccines to address more specifically?
Yeah, I think there needs to be a strong advocacy effort to make sure that everybody's complying with the restrictions that have been put in place and all the health guidelines. I think that the majority of people are complying based on everything that I have heard, but there does seem to be certainly something is happening. And as I said, the province is probably more aware of what the details are and what can be done to address these concerns. But something definitely needs to be done. I believe other levels of government probably have the information. So let's get the information out, or at least address something that will actually make a difference. And I think that there's probably plenty of opportunities. I mean, Federal Minister Hajdu talked about potentially more rapid tests. I've been talking about potentially more vaccines, and I'm sure the province, with the information they have and the health advisors, will come up with some ideas that will, certainly make a difference. And we're going to be starting an advocacy campaign to encourage people to get the vaccine, and an awareness campaign of everything that's going on in this region as far as the restrictions, and making sure that people are understanding the importance of following them.
I just have a few seconds left, but do you anticipate whatever the province decides to do will come quickly? Because with numbers like we read in the introduction, the state of emergency, I mean, time appears to really be of the essence in your community.
I do think there's some urgency, and that's why we obviously had the meeting last night. And, urgent situations call for urgent decisions. So I would encourage, and I'm going to encourage the province to make an urgent decision. We're meeting with the Minister of Health and, some of his team tomorrow at noon. So I'm hoping we make progress, as quickly as possible.
Okay, Mayor, I'll leave it there. I do appreciate your time very much. Thank you.
Thanks for having me.
Don Scott is the mayor of the RM of Wood Buffalo, Fort McMurray. Hi, I'm Vassy Kapelos, host of Power in Politics. See more of our show by subscribing to the CBC News channel or click the link for another video.